The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over. It's my solemn promise that when President Trump threatens us again, we will fight back. We will fight back with everything we have to get the best deal for Canada. We will build an independent future for our country, stronger than ever.
So let me tell you why Donald Trump's behavior towards Canada over the last 12 to 14 hours has been so erratic, and why it has nothing to do with the advert. Two massive things have happened. Canada has done two massive things in the last few days, which would infuriate Donald Trump. So Donald Trump wants people to bow to him. Okay? Canada has not been doing that. A day or two ago, Mark Carney made a speech where he said, we're going to start doubling the amount of non-US exports. So we're going to find new trading partners. He said that we cannot rely on the United States anymore. That trading partnerships that we once had is gone. We're moving on. The bus is gone. We're on that bus. We're moving on. We are not going to be bowing to the United States anymore. We'll find our own path. That will infuriate Donald Trump because he wants to be bowed to. The other massive thing that Canada has done, and I'd love you to share this video, is that they have said, if Benjamin Netanyahu, I always struggle saying his name, the Israeli leader, steps on Canadian soil, he will be immediately arrested for war crimes. So that has happened in the last, 5 days. And those two things would burn Donald Trump from the inside out. It has nothing to do with an advert, even though those were Ronald Reagan's words. But I'm sure that's just the icing on the cake. Folks, let me know what you think about this in the comments.
So Trump is now threatening our neighbors in Canada to delay the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge, a project that Canada financed after the U.S. refused to pay for it. He's demanding that the United States receive a 50% ownership stake before it opens, or he'll delay the opening of it, despite the fact that he refused to pay for it. We do not have a president. We have a mob boss. If you're tired of this bullshit definition of America first that has us at our allies' throats and kissing the ring of our enemies, give me a follow. You are not alone.
There's a bridge that Canada is building between, there's one there now, but they're building a better one, between, I assume it's over the Detroit River.
Detroit and Ontario.
Yeah, of course. Okay, this is Trump this week. As everyone knows, the country of Canada, also known as Canada, has treated the United States very unfairly for decades. How? Canada is building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. Prime Minister Carney, well, that's an improvement. He's called him Governor Carney before, wants to make a deal with China, which will eat Canada alive. We'll just get the leftovers. I don't think so. The first thing China will do is terminate all ice hockey. What the fuck is he talking about? I can usually suss out something in this. I don't know where. Why will China take over, destroy hockey?
First of all,
Trump thought Canada would fall under pressure, but instead, Canada pushed back more harder. Talks of tariffs, talks of annexing Canada, and making it US 51st state did not intimidate Canadians. They stood on business. So let's have a look. Please like and hype the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, alright? Let's get into it.
Once again this morning on Fox, Donald Trump said that Canada is one of the nastiest countries to deal with. And so why does he think like this? Why does he believe this? Because for the most part, Canadians are, quite welcoming, for the most part, quite friendly. And we have a reputation that precedes us. And the big thing probably is that when Donald Trump started threatening Canada, when he started taking off his 51st state comments and then tariffs and all kinds of things, we started pushing back. Now, not only did our government push back, but individual Canadians decided to do something like boycott food, reduce our travel plans, even stop our travel plans to the United States. Donald Trump has taken this extremely personally. And when you ask the question, why would he take this personally? Because when there's trade negotiations between different countries, there's always give and take. There's always, buy and sell. There's always some resistance and tension. But he has taken our pushback as very, very personally. And to understand why, you have to understand Donald Trump. This is a man who was born into wealth. He's never actually used his wealth very well. He's bankrupted things more than he's been successful at things. And Donald Trump has surrounded himself with people that always say yes to him. So when Canada says no, he has found that very personal, and that is the reason why he comes up with these comments like 51st state, nastiest country to deal with, and he'll just make up shit about tariffs as well. Folks, let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Nick.
Shame on America this 4th of July, our 250th anniversary. And we are now the most hated nation in the world. I just got back from Europe. I met with different people from Turkey, from Greece, from Italy, and everyone says the same thing from all over the world. What happened to America? You guys used to be the shining city on the hill. You were the central hub of the modern world. You have been for 70 years, and then you elect this criminal, this obvious tyrant that wants to be a king, and he treats his allies and his friends that have fought wars together like dirt. America first. I mean, it's disgusting. This is a man who lies, cheats, and steals. He's done it his entire life, and yet there's tens of millions of people. These are people from other countries saying this to me. This is what they said. They said, there's tens of millions of you guys that voted for him and still think he's okay. He's a convicted felon. He's been accused of raping multiple women. He's in the Epstein files thousands of times. What they kept telling me every time we'd go out to lunch or dinner was, when are you people going to wake up? It's time. You've been had. You've destroyed America's reputation around the world. And then people kept asking me, are you now proud to be an American? I'm like, no, I'm ashamed to be an American. And for those of you that are about to hit me in the comments and say, well, then go somewhere else. You know what? I can go anywhere in the world I want to go. I'm staying here. You're not hijacking my country. This is not who America is. Yes, America has its own obsession with things like success, and frankly, people like me bought into it. Okay? I'm much older and a little wiser now, and I understand that, there's a whole big world of people out there who are starving, literally starving. And then Trump cancels funding for USAID. Supposedly, almost 600,000 people have died because we cut off funding, because we don't care about anything except ourselves. All we care about is money. Trump is $2 billion richer than he was before. Tell me exactly what I'm supposed to be proud of, America, this 4th of July. No, I'm not raising the flag, but don't tell me to go to another country. We're going to fix it. Come November, Trump will become a lame duck president. I hope he goes to prison. He'll probably get out of it. He's been slithering out like a snake his whole life. Okay, we are going to get rid of all these GOP sycophants, and we're going to turn him into a lame duck and take back our country. And then next year, maybe it'll be a great 4th of July. This one, I'm not celebrating anything. It's disgusting.
President Trump has gone full circle and is once again floating the idea of annexing Canada and making it America's 51st state. So on Monday, Trump responded to reports that Canada had entered what some economists are describing as a technical recession by posting a simple message on social media that read, 51st state. Now, as you guys know, this is far from the first time Trump has suggested the idea. Since returning to office, he has repeatedly joked about or advocated for, depending on your interpretation, the possibility of Canada joining the U.S. The latest comment came just days after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney publicly discussed strengthening economic ties and building a new partnership between the U.S. and Canada. What y'all might not know is that Canada's economy has faced challenges in recent months, with GDP declining for 2 consecutive quarters. However, officials at the Bank of Canada have cautioned against reading too much into a single economic indicator, noting that the country's overall economic picture is more complex. Trump's latest remark quickly reignited debate on both sides of the border. Supporters see it as a classic Trump trolling and political theater, and critics argue that the comments about annexing a sovereign ally even jokingly constrain diplomatic relationships between two countries that share one of the closest economic and security partnerships in the entire world. Now, for now, there's no indication that Canada has any interest in becoming the 51st state. In fact, they have multiple times said that they want nothing to do with that. But nearly a year and a half after the first raising the idea, Trump clearly hasn't let it go.
I would love to see Canada be the 51st state. The Canadian citizens, if that happened, would get a very big tax cut, tremendous tax cut, because they're very highly taxed. And you wouldn't have to worry about military. You wouldn't have to worry about many of the things. You'd have better health coverage. You'd have much better health coverage. So I think the people of Canada would like it.
As I've said unequivocally from the beginning, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will ever be the 51st state. At the same time, from having worked with President Trump for over 8 years now, I can tell you that we have to take seriously what he says and make sure we're responding appropriately. And quite frankly, the response of Canadians over these past weeks has been inspiring, as people have been there for each other, people have been changing their vacation plans, people have been looking at ways to buy Canadian, to support local businesses, to diversify their supply chains to places like Europe and Asia. This is a response of Canadians who are saying, yeah, this is going to be tough, but we're going to double down on Canadian pride and standing up for each other.
Why does Trump hate Canada? Because Canada takes care of America. Remember when Canada saved 6 Americans during the Iran hostage crisis in 1979? They have stepped in time and time again, quietly with that classic Canadian calm, and they're doing it again. But this time, they're saving American students. Trump is cutting funding for universities, revoking student visas, deporting students for protesting, trying to control who teaches and who can attend. So Canadian schools are stepping up. University of British Columbia reopened admissions just for Americans. Toronto and Waterloo are seeing spikes in U.S. applications and campus visits. Because when your own country takes away your education, Canada builds a classroom. This is global leadership. Canada to the rescue. Again.
Canada is an independent country like every other sovereign nation, and it expects to be treated with respect. You can disagree with allies, You can have trade disputes, but there is a difference between negotiating and trying to intimidate. Canadians reacted so strongly to the repeated comments of annexation because many saw them as being disrespectful to their country's sovereignty. Instead of backing down, Canada became even more determined to stand its ground. And for decades, the US and Canada have built one of the closest partnerships in the world, in terms of economy, security, and rich cultural exchange. They trade billions of dollars in goods and services. They work together on security. Families live on both sides of the border, Millions of people, they cross that border every year for work, for tourism, and for family. And that relationship was not built overnight, It took generations of cooperation, trust, and even mutual respect. But Trump ruined that relationship immediately he got into office. And when allies feel disrespected, they start to disappear, Strong alliances don't survive because one country is bigger or even more powerful. They survive because both sides believe they are being treated fairly. And that Trump wants to be a bully, and that does not work in politics. The language a leader uses on allies, it matters a lot because it costs confidence between the allies. And confidence takes years to build, but can be lost much quickly. And when you listen to most Canadians, you can tell that they value their own identity, their own government, and their own national priorities. And suggestions of Canada becoming part of the US are simply unacceptable to them. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.